Hey everyone, it's Patrick Bell here. I am unfortunately by myself tonight. Carl is busy with something going on. So just me and you guys. Let's see what we can do. Let me open up someone and see if you guys can hear me and can see. You know what? I'm going to open up a mod because I just set you up on the software mod. So Ahmad, you are self-muted. You want to just click your mic, say hi. There he is.
Hey, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. Can you see my screen?
I can, and I got your email as well.
Oh, good. Last minute flurry of, hey, let's get someone set up here before we jump into the call. So I'm glad you've got it.
Sweet.
And now you're off learning. Do you have any questions right now on the software? Anything about it? Anything related to it?
Um, I think what I would say is there's two observations I've made.
Okay.
I mean, I can see a lot of value for
Mm-hmm.
the program and the strategies, but one thing is our implementation.
Okay.
I don't know how it's going to be covered. And number two, I feel it's more um, like the external forces have not been considered. Like in a perfect world, no client has ever done this before, but there might be some situations where, let's say, a lot of clients have had a coach before.
Hmm.
Well, what's a scenario? What's a situation where somebody has already done some of this or more or most of these strategies?
I see.
So how to
Yeah.
handle a
So,
situation like
okay. Sure. Have you watched the training videos yet? Any chance?
that? I've just done my training day 1 and day 2,
Oh, okay.
and then just like literally 50 minutes ago, I got the email from
Oh,
you.
cool. Oh, good. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So when you come in the software, you'll see the training on the left, and you can go through that in order. So um, all the way down through here, just kind of work through the software. And so here's the thing about, and I will just address this maybe before we jump into the call or as we're jumping in here.
Hmm.
The software is a tool, and in the business coaching world, there's nothing perfect, and there's nothing really that can really address every single scenario we run into.
Yeah.
So even for myself, I've been doing this now for a decade, and I might jump in with something like Jumpstart 40, which I like. There's actually 27 areas in here.
Hmm.
And when I'm consulting with a client, I actually did a client about 2 weeks ago. I
Hmm.
did a Jumpstart 40 with them. Just a buddy of mine here that's got a water company, and I was looking for ideas and how to grow.
Hmm.
And a lot of these strategies just don't apply. They didn't apply. But I did find 10 of them out of 27 that were applicable. So yeah, the software doesn't solve every problem for you, but it sure makes it a lot easier if you're looking for a systematic way to ask questions, to find breakthroughs. And in reality, when we think about this, I could train my teenager how to do this. I can train my teenager to find breakthroughs in any company, in any industry. What I can't do is train him in a short time how to implement solutions with wisdom.
Yeah.
And that's the wisdom of coaching that you need.
Hmm.
So let me just say, um, with a caveat there. Right now, we can't train him to do it in a short time. It doesn't mean we won't. We're not going to shoot for that because we want to be able to take someone who's never coached before and make them look like a genius, and that's what we're after, really. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I do
just
have a coaching background. Uh,
good.
so like the comment I've made is coming from that aspect that it may, let's say, even let's say with my coaching background and advisory background, even I will be restricted around implementation. So how somebody who hasn't done this before,
Yeah.
uh, how can they manage it?
Oh yeah, it's a challenge for people, and we're all learning and growing in this. So Yeah, as you get in, you'll see like we have implementation calendar, and it's really just a guideline to help you help someone who has never done any implementation before. And we originally created this because way back when I could get clients easily. I could get national companies. I didn't know how to lead them through the process of implementation. So we came up with a tool that says, okay, if we're going to do something like market dominating position, what are the steps you'd take in a general setting? Now, obviously, it's going to be a little bit different for a baker than it's going to be for a multinational software company, obviously. But at least we give you the starting steps to take.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're not starting from scratch, scratching your head going, what do I do first? And what do I say? And what the heck am I going to do when I meet this client in half an hour? But you've got a springboard there.
From that perspective, this is like a game changer. So
yeah,
it's great. Yeah, from that perspective, it's awesome.
Yeah. Now I've had a couple coaches in the past, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, said this is actually dangerous because what we're doing is giving someone without experience the ability to find breakthroughs and then coach someone, and maybe they shouldn't be. So, but anyway, you'll see it's very prescriptive in nature, which is a bit more like consulting and rather than the traditional coaching. But we're not afraid to go after that market anyway and see what we can do to change it. So,
yeah, awesome.
Very good. Well, great to have you on board, Ahmad, and feel free to reach out anytime you have questions. We're on the call here on Tuesday and Thursday at 12:30, and of course you got the Facebook group you can jump into and ask any kind of questions there. So
yeah, a quick question is coming in my mind right now.
Yeah.
One is relevant to the software. So what's the difference between the Jumpstart 40 and Deep Dive or Dive Deep?
Yeah,
40?
sure. Yep, Jumpstart 40 is something you'd use to close a sale. The Deep Dive is something you maybe use to do a very thorough assessment of a business that might take, it will take you several hours to go through that. And that maybe is once you've already got them as a client, you might do that, or you might charge separately for it. In the middle is the Jumpstart. So this is Jumpstart 40. So Jumpstart 12 is to close a sale. Jumpstart 40 I would also use because I like to have a little bit more flexibility across all these different areas you'll see here on the left, because I might be just thinking and I just jump straight to whatever increased frequency of purchase, for example. So you might use that to close a sale, or you might use it to do a much briefer, easier deep dive assessment. So yeah, once you get going.
So for deep dive, for Jumpstart 12, it takes about 45 minutes. So let's say 1 hour. How long does it take for Jumpstart?
Okay, so a Jumpstart 12, you've got 12 areas. In 45 minutes, you might only get through 3 or 4.
Oh, okay.
For a Jumpstart 40, it really depends. If I'm doing this, I'm here in Nairobi, Kenya. I was with a buddy a couple weeks ago. We're sitting in traffic, and I just pulled out my laptop and started asking him questions. And after about an hour in traffic, we found pretty much, most of the areas I wanted to ask him questions around. So it just depends on your experience. Like I could talk to him and go, man, he's not doing direct mail ever. I don't even open it up. I skip it completely. Let's go to a compelling offer and ask questions around that. So it's just for the environment. You could use the Jumpstart 40 in a 45-minute assessment to close a sale. You could use it in an hour and a half. You could do a more thorough assessment with someone over 3 hours. Sure. It'll take you at least 3 hours to go through it if you go through every module. So.
Yeah, but I'm liking the idea of 40 that I have more options to pick and choose.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, pick the ones that makes it makes the probability of selling higher, and even not just selling, it's more even for the client, whatever is the most suitable. There's more
Yeah,
choice.
and you'll find that you'll have your favorite ones that you'll go to time and time again. And like I love things like reactivating former customers. I love where is it? Increasing longevity near the bottom there, increasing longevity of the buying relationship. You know, just walking through those ideas with people that maybe have never thought of them before, and you can often find breakthroughs. But you'll find your, 6 or 10 or whatever that you'll love to go to, and you'll find breakthroughs time and again.
Yeah. Awesome.
Good. All right. Any more questions?
One question. So when I signed up for this service, so I think in the presentation I was being told, so when we will be conducting these assessments, so a portion of it is something, let's say, if I'm doing it online, client is able to see. And then there will be another portion where I have some of my own guidelines for me to use as a consultant or coach.
Right. So
I'm interested to know, how does that work?
Yeah, let me just say, this is what, let me see, there's a role play thing here, and it's actually my wife and then another coach that are running these. And what they'll do is it's just 3 sessions where you work through with your role play person, and they act like they're a baker or a chiropractor or whatever. And here's the problem is, what we're seeing is the new coaches are coming in and they're showing their screen here and they're asking these questions. So what's the company revenue? And they're typing this in, and that's fine for financials. And they start getting into, maybe it's introduction. Why did you start your business? And, typing very slowly, and it gets really boring for the person watching it. So what we've decided is, what we've looking at best practices. I mean, you can show your screen as you're doing financials. You take the person back to the summary screen. You show them the numbers at the top. Now, obviously, these other numbers below here wouldn't have been populated yet, but you've got your summary numbers at the top. And then what you do is you freeze your screen. You pause your screen. And as you're pausing your screen, you might say, hey, Susie, let me just ask you some questions. Let's talk about market dominating position. Do you understand what that is? And they go, not really. And we'll go, Susie, you might be unique, but it won't matter to your prospects unless it's a hot button issue for them. To kind of talk it through. So Susie, tell me, what benefit do you offer to your target market that separates you from all your competitors? And they're not seeing the screen. They don't know that you're asking these questions.
Yeah.
You want to keep the conversation moving. You're going to type really quick, as fast as you can, and don't allow your typing to slow down your questions. Okay, so what you do is you go through there, you find the impacts, you click submit, and then you can go to results. And at this point, you could unpause your screen and say, wow, Susie, look at this. Look what we found you here, an additional $15,000 of profit. And if we go to our summary screen, we see how it's updated here, and you can show this now.
Yeah.
She goes, that's amazing, right? So now what you do, you pause your screen and you go and find something else. And every time you go through these questions, you sound brilliant. And here's the thing, you can do this on a deep dive as well, because on a deep dive, you're asking questions that, you've got these yes or no. So if they say, you say, do you understand the concept of content marketing? And they go, no, I don't really. So you say, well, as an example, let's say you create a special report. Okay, so you start, it gives you the script to say.
Yeah.
And then you can just go through it. And then you ask these brilliant questions, and they think you're a genius. And, maybe you are, and maybe you're not. But everyone sounds like a genius if they're using it correctly.
Yeah. So out of interest, completely off the topic, can I pause a screen share, or like pause a screen on Zoom?
Yes, you can.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
Ooh.
All right. Good. Well, it's good to chat with you, Ahmad.
Like,
I'm going to put you on mute. Thanks for joining us today.
my pleasure.
Yeah. All right. I see Christina has a question. So, Christina, you're live.
Hey, how are you? I had a quick
I'm
question.
good.
So,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I noticed that you said you can pause the screen because that's one thing I thought about. I believe when I was on a call, I saw another gentleman kind of going through the whole profit acceleration software, and I didn't want folks to just think that I'm just typing stuff in. How did you pause the screen where they can only see what you want them to see?
Sorry, you broke up there a little bit. Can you ask the question again?
How did you pause the screen where they only see what you want them to see while you're continuing to type in the information or look at the script?
Yeah, so it's just something you have to practice with. And I know Zoom has a pause function, pause a screen. We're on GoToWebinar here, so
Oh,
that
okay,
has
so
a
it's not
function.
something within this software.
No, it's not. No. It's
Okay,
something
all
on
right. Well,
the,
I'm good then. I thought you were showing us something new.
yeah. Okay. No problem. Yeah. No, we don't have that function yet. It's and maybe we won't. I don't know. So many things to work on.
Okay, well, I
So,
appreciate
yeah. Any other questions?
it.
You all good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. All right. Thanks for joining us. Good. Put you back on mute. Scroll down. And the problem with our Q&A call is there are no more Qs. Join the queue, ask a Q. I'll provide the A. Otherwise, it's going to be a short call. That's okay. So this is not a training call, you guys. This is a Q&A call, and I know that we sometimes go into training, but I will let you know as I'm waiting for the next question. You guys are going to love what you see. New ROI tab is coming in probably early next week. And I've been looking at this for a long time. We've had some complaints on it. And I just feel like it's a little bit deceptive. My problem is if I have this implementation calendar and I look at this and I go, oh my gosh, it's 68 weeks to implement. And when I go to ROI, this is our cost of coaching, but that's only 1 year. And so we have a profit impact here, which is easy to read if you got round numbers like 200 and 554. So we know the impact is really 354. It's be a lot harder to read if we've got some weird numbers. So we're going to clear this up, and then we're going to also find out that the cost of coaching might still be 12,000 there, 1,000 a month. But the ROI is going to change because what can you actually accomplish in 1 year versus right here, we're looking at 64 weeks. So we're trying to add some intelligence to that and again, make this a lot more clear. And of course the other ones, and then how it all updates here in the revenue share and then right through the reports. So we got a little bit of work to do there, but William's been on that for about a week. So hopefully by Tuesday, we'll have something for you there. Tom, I'm gonna see what you got here. Tom says, can you show us how to pause the screen? You know, I'm not sure I can, Tom, because I'm on GoToWebinar and you can't see my control panel here. So you'll just have to look. You know, the easiest way would be to look up on YouTube. And if you're using Zoom, so open up YouTube and just see how to pause a screen on YouTube. So
and then push the pause button with the top.
yeah. So look here, how to pause a screen on.
Share the screen in order to see it.
So there's a few things here. Zoom, pause, share, different things here. Zoom for beginners, screen share more, how to freeze your Zoom and Zoom. So just come in here, look at these, and then practice with a buddy, and you'll be able to do it pretty quickly. So it's a little bit hard to explain when I can't really show it on the screen and look if I'm using it, but anyway, hopefully that'll help. Gareth has a question. Prospect wanted to know why the expected revenue from the growth trend doesn't show up in the summary. Not really. Maybe Gareth, I'm going to open you up here and you can explain what you are talking about. Hang on a sec. There he is. Oh, should be live there, Gareth.
Yep, all good. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a bit of context. So when we do the financial questions at the beginning and the valuation questions, we're asked to put in what their trend has been, over the last 3 years in terms of the percentages. So if they're doing $1 million a year and they've been increasing 10% per year over the last couple of years, we put in 110. The question from the client was, when we got to the summary, is, well, if I did $1 million last year, I'm going to do 1.3 this year, right? Because I'm growing at 10%.
Okay.
Why, when we start talking about market dominating position and the introduction, does that number not show up in the inspected increase in revenue from the current revenue?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, it kind of stopped me. And all we did was basically say, well, what do you think you're going to do this year, regardless of whether or not we work together? And we'll start with that number as the current revenue. So that was our way around it, but that was the first time anybody had ever asked me that. So thought I'd raise it today.
That's awesome. I mean, that's the first time I've heard it raised in a year and a half. So that's the challenge of this. I would say if you're in, and this is just not the answer to that, but like a little side note, let's say you're in your coaching ROI, you want a percent of the revenue. You pull up a chart and say, this is what you're currently doing. Based on your growth of 10% a year, let's say you're going to do 220,000 next year.
Yep.
I'm saying, hey, we're going to get you to 554. So we could work from there. The difference would be 334,000 additional. I'm really articulating it very poorly, but you get my point. It's just calculated and, just kind of talk it through. And I think most people are pretty fair. It's like, hey, you're making 200,000 now. I think next year you'll probably be at 220,000, all things being equal. That's money you're earning, fair and square. I'm not going to take a piece of that. So let's talk about, a percent of revenue on top of that. And they'll go, yeah, that makes sense. So then you got to do a little bit of math. But that's a really good point. I'll think, I'm not sure when we can add that in or how that would add, because what happens if they're in a, if they're declining at 10% a year? So now we're at 90%. Do you capture more of their money, or? Right, I don't know.
But they're expecting to, earn less over the next 12 months than they did in the last 12 months. And I would assume, I'm going to take a percentage of the additional, but I see your point. But I would say if that's the first time it's been raised in 18 months, I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah,
I was just thinking the same thing. If people keep bringing it up, it's like, yeah, we've got to deal with it. But diverting a programmer for a few days to figure that out for something that comes up once in 18 months is probably not something we're going to worry too much about. But it's good to know. It's really good to be aware of.
There's another question I had just now. One of the, I think it was the deep dive you were looking at before, there was an item on the left-hand side. I thought I saw website optimization on there.
Okay, that'll be digital deep dive.
Digital deep dive. Okay.
Yeah, and that's part of the digital acceleration package that's separate from the normal deep dive. So what we've got in this is 8 different ways to grow your business in digital marketing, and then 7 of these are what we've taken as the main areas from our other part of the software. So we have increased prices, market dominating position. Instead of upsell, cross-sell, we've renamed it one-time offers and cross-sell. It's kind of different. Downsell will be pop-up windows as well.
Gotcha.
Things like that. So cut cost becomes digital costs and increase margins. This is, you already have this. This asks great questions around the digital marketing.
But the digital deep dive, how does one get access to be able to deliver that?
Okay, so that's, let me see. I think it's no results, no fee / DA software.
DA software.
And it's just a one-time charge for that for $197. You just go right there and you pick it up, and there's a request comes in and it gets processed. And it's got some different charts in here too. I might just jump in there quick and I haven't used it in a while, but I really like this chart. Is it in the introduction? So you go through all these questions, and let me zip through a few here. And they ask these questions like on a scale of 1 to 10, rate your level of success. And let me just go through this really quick. You can answer any kind of numbers. Here you might, you've got, I think there's 10 questions with this, so it won't take too long. And so you kind of get a general basis of where they're hurting, where they need help. And you can really fly through this in about 5 minutes. And you get this chart where your average score here, 2.88 out of 10, shows us that we have some work ahead. And it gives us this visual here. And the average is, 2.88. Some is nothing. If they don't have a website, they're going to score them a 0. If they're not doing emails, it's a 0. So now as you go through all your other questions through here, you can always come back to the introduction and you'll have this here. Now I'm looking at this, I kind of think this chart should be stretched out a little bit more. I'm going to talk to William about that. And I think the taller it is, the more impressive it becomes. Anyway, that's
Is there any discussion about putting a similar questionnaire into the other assessments?
Not at this time, no. We're spinning our wheels on so many different projects here, and all of them are like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to do that. So yeah, this could be added. Maybe if I get a lot of requests, we'll think about it. So yeah, good.
Cool. All right, thank you.
Yeah, any other questions?
I did do a quick Zoom Google search for the pausing a Zoom call or a Zoom screen, and it looks like Alt-T will pause and resume the screen. Just FYI.
Alt-T.
Alt-T.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So I wonder if you can see my screen moving here. Can you see that?
Yep.
You can see it. Okay. I didn't Alt-T and it didn't work there for that one. So
it was on Zoom though. I think that was the question.
It might be Zoom. Yeah. Okay. It might be for Zoom. All right. Thanks a lot, Gareth. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'll mute. See who has a question, who's been waiting. I think that's good. Let's go to Pete. Pete Ambrosino. Move that out of the way. Pete, you want to try that? Oh, there he is. Yes.
How are you?
How's it going? So good. How are you?
Good. I'm sorry I don't know your name, sir. I've never actually met you. I apologize.
Talk to Carl. I'm Pat or Patrick, whatever you like.
Oh, Pat. How you doing, man? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, good. Good.
Yeah. So I did a I'm in the middle of a deep dive. I really had an amazing surprise by the level of work involved. We finished up, we stopped at about 10 p.m. last night. But anyway, my question is, when I go implementation, and I look at all the things that we went through, it's only carrying over, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 links for implementation to create a timeline. So my question is, how do I expand that, or does it only do 10 at a time?
Okay, so you've come into deep dive. Let me just review.
Yeah.
You've found a lot of different, okay, and you've gone to priorities, have you?
Yes, and I set priority. I kind of just guessed. I put a couple weeks in here for a couple things, 3 weeks in for other things,
Okay.
and then I rearranged it.
And then, so
I'm sorry, I lost you there.
all of them had at least a 1 week in it. Okay.
Yeah, they're all,
You're
yeah.
coming to implement. Okay. So you're coming to implementation, and your links are here or not? They're all here.
Yep, the links.
Okay, so what are you missing?
So, okay. So for the priorities, there were only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 choices to actually prioritize. Is that
But you
all
found
that it
breakthroughs
gives
and
you?
more?
Gosh, I think,
Oh no.
yeah, I mean, let me just clarify here, because we didn't make it to, oh my God, yeah, we finished everything in foundations and stopped at more leads. That's where we didn't get through. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm lying to you. We got it down to referral systems and more leads. So it only pulled up 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things to actually prioritize.
Okay. Because you haven't done the rest then. So there's nothing to prioritize if you haven't found a breakthrough. Right?
Okay. I guess.
Yeah.
I would.
So what happens is, like on this one, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So when I got priorities, I go in here and we found those positive impacts in 7. They're all going to be there.
Right.
If I go to this one, it's Jumpstart 12, and I've got all 12 found a priority. They're all going to be here. I think there's another one. I did a Jumpstart 40 test, and let's see if this loads. There we go. And then coming here, they're all there.
Okay, so it will expand as you. Okay, so the trick is I've
Yeah.
got to complete them, and then it drops them over into that bucket.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
And then if you do completing that many, like look at this, it's crazy, 123 weeks of implementation.
Oh Jesus.
That's a
okay.
two-year coaching
Yeah.
right there.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So
all right, and then let me just make sure. So so now I'm in implementation. Let's just say that I'm in the timeline right now. The process that I follow, what Carl was talking about, or you were talking about, the answers in the back of the book, is
right.
you hit the clipboard, and it walks you through on the right hand side exactly what we do step by step. Is that fair to say?
And that's right here. You hit that clipboard, and then they're all right here.
Yep.
And once you've done them, you can click it that you've completed it. You can also take notes on it, and like that. And
how did you hit the
now this?
Okay,
right
so
there. There's notes here, and that turns green once there's a note behind it.
Okay.
And so you'll see this. I'm on part B now.
Okay.
So you take that. You see it's under part B, and you can actually see all your notes here. A and B, it just shows it right there. So.
Oh, okay. That's great. Okay. I will play with it as I work with them.
What's going to happen here? we rolled this out, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, probably 4 weeks ago, maybe 5 even. And after we rolled it out, we've had quite a few coaches comment like, hey, why don't we add another here, like on down the side or all these. And once we go to, like the settings tab, some coaches are going, well, how do we, with these, we want to pick different meeting sequence. So we've got William on this, and probably in about a week, should be sometime next week, we're going to go back into this and really start doing some more work on this implementation calendar and just kind of refine a little bit. So
yeah, it's great.
So
guys just blew it up with that option. I can tell you that.
Good. Well, we got more blowups coming. It's just a matter of like literally my timeline of my rows and rows, like hundreds of rows of requests from coaches like, could you do that? It's like, yeah, that's such a great idea. And when it happens, I'm really sorry. Because then on the other side, I've got Carl and Adrian like, wouldn't it be really cool if we had this? I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, let's build it. And so we just keep pushing ourselves. It's so much fun.
I heard the funniest, you're going to want to steal this. I heard the funniest description of Carl today. We're talking with another LPW buddy. He said,
okay.
Carl's like a squirrel on cocaine and Red Bull. Try to keep up with it. It's crazy.
I'll tell him that one. He'll love
it. Right?
He will love it. He'll love it. Because only squirrels on cocaine and Red Bull would love that.
Exactly.
Hey, that's me.
That's it.
All right.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Pete. Appreciate it.
Yep. Yeah, man.
Okay. All right, that was good. Let's see, anyone else got a question? Questions. I don't see anything. Last chance. Oh, Portia, I think I just saw you.
Hi, Pat.
There you go. Hey,
Pat,
how are you? Yeah.
good, how are you?
Yes.
Quick question. When you do the report, the training that you had for doing the first report and then saving it as a template? So then when you do every other report, do you have to do it the same way, or can you use that template to reduplicate it? Or does all of them have to be formatted?
Yeah, I just ran into this my first time, like in a year. I just did this for a buddy, a couple weeks ago, and oh my goodness, I opened up a template, and I'd saved it as a template before, and I worked through it. And let me just see it. Let me pause my screen so I don't embarrass myself like I've done before. And I'll see if I can pull this up here. Oh, I do have it. Okay, so what I did, I looked at this and I created this template before. And so when I have a new client, what I'll do is I'll save this as, fountain water client, whatever I helped. And then I start working on it from there. And I go back and I start changing things like down the left side here. It's like a text box I had to add. And then, of course, put my name and things like that. The problem I ran into was they had these headers and footers. This was ABCD was the company. And of course, I was using it with fountain water. And there was a property of LPW, so I had to put my name in there. So what I had to do was go in and just edit this header and footer. And so I did that, and I changed this header up here. And then once it finished, it closed. But what happened was the header on the next page didn't change. And so what I realized, I found this button here. It's this show hide paragraph marks and symbols. And it's getting a little technical here, but we have page breaks, and then there were section breaks. And if there's a section break, then the header and footer in the next section don't change. So what I do with a page break or a section break, you just put your cursor before it, you hit a delete, and it changes, it deletes the section. So I think I might have to go through and rework on that template
But don't all
just
the
to make
numbers
sure
and
it's
everything
easy to
change
use.
as well? The
Well,
numbers
yeah,
and
in your template, you've got these numbers, right? So what I did was I downloaded the new report. In that whole section, I just went through and copied and pasted everything. And then I had to go back and just mess with the fonts a little bit. And of course, you've got to go through and you change it everywhere it says this. So, we've run into this problem over the last year or so. And the problem is we've got so many images here, and we've got graphs and things like this that are sitting throughout it, and these little guys, which are really outdated, and this kind of really cool looking cover page, which is an image that we have text going over top of images. And it's really hard for the developer to come out with something that's all the right font, perfectly laid out, things like all these graphs inputted correctly. And he worked on this for a couple months, I think a year or so ago, and we finally said, enough's enough. We got so many things to do in the software. Let's get it to the place where it's 90% done. So yeah, unfortunately, it still takes you, with a template, it'll take you 45 minutes, maybe half an hour. But that's about as good as we've got right now. I messed up my template because I got rid of my section breaks and all that stuff, and I'm gonna have to start again from scratch, I think. So yeah, so it's not ideal. And some of these graphs, I mean, they're okay. If no one's seen this before, they're gonna go, man, it's so cool. But I think the longer we're around the software, the more impressive we want our graphs to be. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty nice. Man, you should see the templates, the reports I came out with 5-10 years ago, 5-8 years ago. Like, this is a dream compared to what I had. It was just, they were absolute rubbish. And these are so much more powerful. But, all this stuff, right? Single. I don't even want to start messing around with here on. There's a section break there. So you got to put your, and then it messes up. So I'm just going to stop.
thank you. No, it just makes more sense to start from scratch on each one of them. It takes the same amount of time.
It could. The more you work with it, the more reports you do, I think you'll get them done a lot quicker. And I think if you know where the problems are, you'll sort them out a lot faster. So this is something I do want to revisit. I think the reports have to be excellent, and it is software, so we should be able to do a good report, but it's just a priority. It's just way down the priority list right now. So yeah, hang on. We'll see what's coming in 3 months, and you'll be thankful that we skipped reports. So that's all I can say. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And Portia, let me ask you, how was your role play with Holly? I think I heard you doing it the other day, didn't you?
It was good, except I kept getting mixed up. I was trying to make sure that I paused the screen, but I kept hitting the stop sharing button.
Oh,
and
okay.
then I got confused, and I had spent about 45 minutes putting together a PDF presentation for the 10K, and I got so caught up in the software that I totally forgot to use the PDF. So other than that,
Okay.
it was good. I'm looking forward to her to the chiropractor one on this coming Monday. But it's
Good.
very
So that's
beneficial, and her
yeah.
feedback is just amazing. It's so spot on.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, that's what practice is for, right? It's better to screw up
Yes.
in front of friends than in front of prospects. So
Exactly.
that's what
But I
it's
was
there
going to
for.
make sure that I didn't mess up the financials like I did the first time. I'll never do the financials with a mistake. That's for sure.
Well, good. Well, that's just, I love hearing it because it's like practice. And imagine if like people are coming out and they're trying it in front of a client and they've never done this before. And as Carl said, they make a dog's breakfast out of it. So just a little bit of practice. I mean, who was I explaining to today? They're asking about how I do presentations, and Carl's gets up and in front of a crowd and he just starts winging it for an hour and he's brilliant. And I was telling this person that before I get on stage, I'll create my whole presentation actually word for word, and I'll mostly memorize it and I'll practice it about 20 times to the wall, and then I'll go and share it with my wife or my staff, and I'll have them critique it, and then I'll go and fix it, and I'll go and do it another 10 times, and I'll go and share it again, and they'll get critiqued again, and I'll go and fix it some more, and I'll practice it another 5 times, and then when I'm stood on stage, I've done that probably 30 times, and people think, oh man, he's so natural. And it's like, no, I just already done this 30 times and been critiqued. So that's the power of practice. You just get so good at it and people think you're good. All right, guys, any more questions? Last chance. If not, it's okay. We're going to call it an early night and see you guys next week on Tuesday at 12:30 Pacific. Come with your questions. And if you want to just come and hang out and see what's going on, you're welcome to do that as well. I'm hoping that next Tuesday we'll show you the new ROI charts and how they're working, and hopefully William will have them ready by then. I'll push him to do that. So guys, take care. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you on Tuesday.